let's get started. There we go, socks over here. She's like, gotta block that light. There we go. There we go. Anyway, how's everyone going? Hopefully everyone's going well. Let's jump straight into it. Today we're still working on the navigation and stuff like that, but don't worry, we're actually implementing what we want to implement next. We're going to have a look at implementing Sass, which will help with us doing all the styling and so forth like that. So it just makes it easier, makes CSS easier. The next thing we'll also probably look at is also accessibility. So we'll be implementing a bit of that today. We'll be reading up on it. We'll be making sure we cross our T's and dot our I's with the accessibility. And we'll probably have a quick look at internationalization and to be like, all right, cool. How can we implement this? Like, how easy is it to implement this? The reason why we want to do all this now is because these are features we want to implement, and it's best to do this in this vertical slice, so we're only playing around with this vertical slice. That way when we go to deploy all of this across all of NearBeach, we do it all in one hit. So, going on to things, so we did the suspense last time, and I'm pretty happy with that. So we've got to fall back with the suspense. With this, that is the, didn't we? Yeah, I know, Socks. Didn't we set up a thing to do that properly? Like that? Do I have the wrong mockup open? No, I've got mockup 2 open. Yeah, I know I'm confused as you, Socks. Because we've got our router views there, we've got our suspense. We don't have a suspense for the navbar. That is something we've got to also do. Yeah. Just gonna close that. Give me a couple of seconds. Yeah, we're in NearBeach mockup 2. NearBeach mockup 2. Yep. And then yeah, it doesn't look like that. Hold on. No, I know what I did. To make this cleaner, we actually had the component called aside, which is where we're doing the suspension. So yeah, so we've got the aside in here. We've got the toggle, we've got everything set up, and then yeah, we suspend the little buttons themselves. So that's where that is. I can get rid of that there. I also should rename this from aside to aside component. So we'll quickly do that. And I've just got to follow that through. So the only areas that it is using that is down here. What we'll do, we'll go aside component. We're happy with that. What we're also going to do is go aside component. Oops, like so. And then if we go in here, sorry, my phone keeps going off. I think I'm just going to put it on do not disturb mode. This is driving me nuts. We just need to find the aside components in here. So it'll be this one, and we'll just go component, easy done. We'll also do the same with the navbar. We'll have a navbar component, and then we'll have a main actually no, the main, that's fine, that's not a component that we're using. The reason for that is just best practice around naming conventions. So yeah, we'll quickly adjust, rename this one, navbar component. So we're happy with that. And then we go navbar component. And then we go component, easy done, and then navbar. Oops. Really? But then why the hell did that fucking open? All right, so we've done those. We're going to look at SaaS stuff. So I had a quick look in here. Now I'm having a look at tooling. Have a look at the features. Ooh, we're just in our, sorry, we're just in an ad break. So for those on YouTube, we run ads every half an hour. On Twitch, this is just to stop the pre-rolled ads because they suck. You know, when you join a stream and you just get ads straight away. Ooh. Yeah, we tend to do this to make sure no one misses out on any content. So yeah, hopefully everyone's going well. I might make a cup of tea next next ad break because I definitely need some water. Yeah. Anyway, 15 seconds left of the ads. We also got Socked here. She's just huddled up into the corner in her protective mode. She's like protecting the room up here, you know. Patty comes through the door, she'll be down, go, no, get out. Alright, welcome back everyone. Okay, so we've got features, dependency, we've got, alright, cool, hot module replacement, sure, TypeScript, yep, sweet. Keep scrolling down. Alright, out of the way. We've got client types. Features default types for Node.js API. Client compiler. Yep, alright, cool. Yep, that's all fine and dandy. I'm just going to skip down to the CSS. I'm just going to have a look at this menu very, very quickly. Alright, I'm just going to do this so you guys can read. So CSS, importing .css files will inject its content to the page in the via. Yep, alright, cool. Post CSS. If the project contains post CSS config, any format supported by post CSS log, alright, it will automatically apply to import all CSS. Alright, note that CSS minification will run on post CSS and we'll use the build CSS target option. Sweet, CSS modules. Alright, any CSS file ending with module.css is considered a CSS module file. Ooh, I don't know what that is. CSS module is a CSS file where all the class names and animation names are scoped locally by default. Okay, yep. Cool. Importing, yep, alright, we're not doing that. CSS pre-process. CSS and Sass. npm add Sass embedded. Or Sass. Alright, this is kind of what I want. I've used less in the past. Yeah, it's been a while since I've used it, so I'm not familiar enough with it at all. But I do like Sass. So, because Vite targets modern browsers only, is recommended to use native CSS variables with post CSS plugins implemented. Okay. That said, Vite does provide the built-in support for Sass, list, and files. All right. There's no need to install Vite-specific plugins for them, but corresponding preprocessors must be installed. Okay. So because they're recommending native CSS. Yeah. If you're using a Vue single file component, it automatically enables. All right. Let's play around with it. So I'm just going to do quick and easy. We're going to delete this sort of stuff. I'm just going to go div class equals. Let's just call it a modal. It's not going to be a modal, don't worry. Div class modal body. We'll also have div class modal header. We'll have h1 modal header. And then in here we'll have, let's say, p some text in here, and then we'll have div class equals modal footer. Modal footer. All right, easy done. So once again, this is just going to be test code. We're going to delete this. We're just playing around. The thing I want to do, dot modal, is I am going to give it a set width and height. So width, I'm just going to say 50% of the view width. The height is going to be 50% of the view height. We are going to say position fixed. We're going to go top calc. How do I do this? Sorry, I'm just trying to remember how to do a lot of this. At the moment, I'm just going to go 50 pixels from the top, bottom, 50 pixels, sorry, not bottom, let's go, yeah, left, 50 pixels, and then background color, we're going to pick something that will just stand out. At the moment, we have baby blue. Let's do hot pink. So there it is. We're all happy with that. I'm going to try and set it into the middle of the page. So what we want is we want top calc. This would be 75. No, that will be 25 of the view height. And it'll be 25 of the view width. So there you go. It's actually centered. The reason why those calculations were so easy is because there's just ratios at this particular point. I'm stating that I'm taking half of the view width. So if I have something that's half the view width, we then put a quarter on both sides and we can center it. It was basic maths. So we just got this here right now. Let's sort of edit things out. Let's see if this actually works. So we've got the style scoped up here. Now over in the documentation, they're stating that I could use lang equals sass. So there it is there. So I can go sass. Instantly, it does not like a lot of things in there. End of line expected. Preprocessed dependency, Sass and embedded, not found. Right, so I need to actually get that installed and all that kind of fun stuff. All right, not a problem. What we'll do is we'll probably back down from doing what I was going to do. But I want to see what this post stuff can do, just because I haven't really played around with it that much. So we're going to read the documentation. I'm going to zoom in so everyone can also read the documentation at the same time. So in here, I'll zoom that so add vendor prefixes to CSS rules. All right, cool. Let's just go straight into the docs. Let's go straight into here. So we've got the parser plugin bundle. All right, cool. All right. Okay. Okay. Now the thing I want to actually do, and the thing I like about Sass, is if I have, let's say, a child element with a child class, I could just go dot modal. Let's say. Now, did I do a header? Yeah, I did do a header. Make sure it is a class. Yep, it is a class. I could do something like that, and then go background color. I could do then sky blue. Once again, we're just playing around with this. But yeah, it doesn't do anything here, which is a bit of a pity. Because yeah, I kind of want that to be then sky blue. That one works. But it could also be that I need to do So I'm just going to do this very, very quickly. We're just doing simple Google, nested, do it like spec, do it like the spec. Okay, and hover. Yeah, they've got it like that. All right, cool. I'm happy to do that. I won't complain. So yeah, I'll be happy to do it like that. But it looks like I need to install this. Okay. Alright, there's a lot to unpack. I think a lot of people think that post CSS as a future syntax CSS processor, probably due to the ease of setup. Alright, cool. Yeah, it looks like we're just going to install something very, very quickly. Which, okay. This was edited last year, change log, new version out. Alright, cool. CSS nested. Seeing if there is. Yeah, but when did that come out? Oh, a year ago. Alright. Oops, that was the wrong tab. I was meant to click on that one. All right. Tooling. Gonna bring that back open. Oh no, I don't want this. Features. Sorry, I wanted this one. So. It's recommended to use it with Postgres plugins that implement the CSS IG post CSS nesting. All right, so and author plain future standard compliant CSS. All right, cool. So it is recommended. I'm happy with that. So what we could do, we could just install it very, very quickly. So we install it. So install, save, use a Postgres CSS plugin. Sorry, post CSS, not Postgres CSS. Post CSS. Did you do in here? All right, I'm just gonna have a quick look. All right, CSS at import, inlining. All right, cool. It's recompiled to support the at import inline via post CSS import. Fight aliases are also reserved for the CSS import. In addition, CSS URL references. All right, cool. Yep. Post CSS in the project contains valid post. All right, cool. Let's set up a valid post CSS sort of stuff. So once again, we'll go to the documentation. We'll just go to the docs. All right, probably not what I want. I want setup. All right, so CSS and JavaScript, the best way to use post CSS with the AutoTurf is, all right, we don't do any of that. And I'm just wondering if this is part of the Vite config. Okay, hang on. Vite post CSS. Nested, wasn't it? Doing this, getting this to work, export CSS. Okay, cool. Export define, config, plugins. All right, cool. In here. CSS. Now that will be, yep, an object. That will then be, okay, so then we do post CSS plugins and all right, cool. And then in here, we need to go nested, post CSS nested. Yep, but we need to actually call it in. All right, cool. So up on, I'm just gonna go line 2, import, post CSS nested. It'll be, yeah, post CSS nested from post CSS. Yeah, all right, cool. From post CSS nesting. Yep, not nested, sorry, nesting. Like so, all right, that's all done. Now the problem is, if I lint this file, it's gonna hate me, so I'm not gonna lint it. Now this is view module post, so it has no exported post nesting. Did you mean post CSS nesting? Possibly. If you let me select it. Oh, fuck off. Oh, they didn't have the, all right, no, sorry, my brain's a little bit shot at the moment. That's how it's done. I had the mustache brackets when I didn't need it. All right, so now that is done, let's have a look here. Let's just reload this. Unable to connect, you know why? I'm not running it, that's why. All right, let's go back into here. Let's hit run. So that didn't quite work how I wanted it to. Which is a bit of a problem. So if we bump this off to the left, we can see that the got the div class main model header. We've got nothing on it. With this one, we've got stuff. It's part of the inline data. We do have the model header there. What I'm doing is I'm just going to copy that very, very quickly. We're just going to go into the inspector. I'm just going to paste it in. only have it in one spot. I'm just gonna click on this. Do I not have... Is that just spelt wrong? Possibly. Highly likely. Yeah, I put model header. Alright, my bad. Easy done, but now we know this is working. This is how I want to actually sort of get this to work. The reason being is I like the sort of nested CSS. It makes it a lot easier to sort of find stuff. You got a parent, and then underneath you've got your children, and then you've got your options and so forth like that. All right, let's close a lot of these because we no longer need them. Let's open up a new tab. Let's go post CSS media queries. Let's see how they do it. So we're just going to open up a couple of examples. Oops, I've got to bump that off to the other side, bump that off to the right. I will do that here too, bump that off to the right. See, now we got that different color. All right, we'll do that so you guys can see what I'm reading. Otherwise, CSS media queries. Okay. We'll open up MDN. All right. Going with the Postgres. Setting up for Postgres. All right, cool. Okay. Okay, yep. Okay. Add custom media, exact resolution. All right, cool. Sorry, I'm scratching my eye. So resolution. The resolution media feature allows us to examine the pixel density of any output. This enables us to manage the code. All right, we're not too worried about that at all. Hover, that would be pretty cool. Media hover check. Yep, and so forth like that. I think there might be a touch check. CSS media query touch check. There is. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's actually something I should potentially do. All right. I also found a ticket. When was this done? This was actually asked 13 years ago. All right. Pointer device, usually pointer follower. All right, cool. Yep. Looks like I got a lot to read around the media queries and so forth like that. I haven't used them extensively yet. Posted custom media. All right, cool. I don't want to do anything too custom, but also I want to do post CSS variables. Hey, Zogapoo. Yes. Come on. No. Nope. Whoa. Come on. Ah, sorry. Connected in. All right, there we go. Say hi to everyone, Socks. Appreciate. No. I was giving me treats. She fell off the little cat stairs. Didn't help that I was trying to pick her up. Oh, she's fine. She's like, heh. Alright, let's have a look at something like this. So, the idea being is if I'm going to use some variables, what I can do is I can set up some variables in one particular location and just reuse them elsewhere. This is great for sort of setting up colors, breakpoints, and all that kind of fun stuff. Alright, so this is just simple vars. And what we could do is we can go to Vite post CSS variables. It's recommended to use native CSS variables. All right, no, that's perfectly fine. That's with the Sass and all that kind of stuff. All right, cool. All right. Custom properties. Custom properties, sometimes referred to as CSS variables or cascading variables, are entities defined by CSS authors that represent the specific values to be reused throughout the document, which is what we want. So, for example, we can set up different background colors and different levels of those colors and so forth like that. Prime color, blue, custom properties when using the var. So color equals var prime color. All right, cool. Complex websites have a very large amount of CSS, and this often results in a lot of repeating CSS values. Yet, for example, it is common to see the same color used hundreds of different places in a style sheet. Changing a color that's being duplicated in many places requires a search and replace across all the rules in the CSS files. Yeah, ugly. Custom properties allow a value to be defined in one place, then referenced in multiple other places, so it's easier to work with. Another benefit is readability and semantics. For example, main text color is easier to understand than the hex. All right, cool. Yeah, I am liking this. Custom properties define using 2 dashes, subjected to the cascade, and inherit their value from their parent. The @property rule allows more control over the custom properties and lets you specify whether it inherits a value from the parent and what the initial value and all that kind of fun stuff. Anyway, I am going to sit down because I'm getting in a little bit sore back. All right. Okay. So we can do it at the section, the selector to the rule section element in the example above defines the scope in which the custom property can be used. For this reason, a common practice is to define custom properties on the root pseudo class so that you can reference. So we just got to do that. Sweet, not a problem. All right. So I'm going to set this up. So we're going to go source. We've got our styles. I'm going to put in a folder in here, and I'm going to call it. All right. Twitch, can you let me delete stuff? No, I'm not getting that message. Oh, we've just hit another ad break. So yeah, why am I thinking variables and all that kind of stuff? So I'm thinking a couple of steps ahead. So what I want to do is pretty much shift everything into place, and then yeah, sort of get then build everything. I don't know what I'm saying. The idea being is I kind of want to set up the variables so I can set the breakpoints as variables, so I can just use that number throughout the whole entire process, just in case I want to change the breakpoint of each. Just in case I want to change a single breakpoint or something like that. I'm not trying to find it everywhere. The idea also with how I'm going to do the CSS moving forward is it's going to be start from mobile phone first, and then you'll have the little at media queries, which will then do the tablet, and then do so forth and so forth and so forth. And I'll probably do breakpoint, deal with the breakpoints like that. I will probably also implement global classes too. So there's a couple of things where, for example, if I'm using Flexbox a lot, and I've got Flexbox row, but however, if it's on a mobile, it'll be Flexbox column, I might implement a class just for that. So yeah. So, got a lot on. Alright, so we want to route up there. I'm just going to call this, I don't know what the folder, I should have, I thought of the folder name during the ad break, and I didn't make my cup of tea. I don't want to call it variables. In fact, I'm just going to, for the moment, we're just going to do a style sheet, and it's going to be called variables. It's going to be a CSS file, and we're going to have the root in here, and then yeah, that's it for the moment. So we could potentially start setting certain colors and so forth like that. Another thing I want to do is we'll go to Tailwind just to show this off, is we might pick a couple of colors and do something like this, where we've got a range. And notice how there'll be like 50, 100, 200, and so forth like that. We'll end up doing the same thing too. The reason being is, so there's consistency. So I'm going to be using the same color and so forth like that. Yeah, and also when I pick the colors too. So yeah, that's the idea. That's what I'm aiming for. But with the variables, I also want to have a look at the breakpoints too. Are we under container? No. All right, hang on. Give me a couple of secs. I will. Responsive design. There it is. All right, cool. First, make sure you added the viewport meta tag. That up there. Oh yeah, we've got to. I'm just going to double check my HTML because this got auto generated. Yeah, yep, cool, done, perfect. Now, they've got all of these now. I know someone sent me the other day screen sizes. Not what I want. For web development. Oh, that's not it. No. That's the same size. Screen size. I think it's screen size map. Yes. All right. Cool. So popularity, we're just going to go high. We're not going to worry about every single screen size possible. We're just going to map out the usual ones, and we're going to add in a couple of breakpoints, and we're just going to think about the different screens and so forth like that. So as we can see here is we've got something like this, which is something by 640, and then we've got 400, so 360 to 400. All right, so I'm gonna say 400 is one of our breakpoints. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. So we're gonna go over here, and we're just gonna put these. Sorry, keyboard stopped working. And we're just gonna say, I don't know a good name for this, so we're just gonna say mobile screen size for the moment. We're just gonna go 400 pixels. We'll leave it at that for the moment. And then we're gonna go tablet screen size, and we'll figure this one out. I should say max mobile, and then max tablet size. And we'll spin it around to the minimums too, so we'll do a minimum of those particular variables. So there won't be a minimum mobile screen at all. So yeah, with this, the screen width, I'm gonna say, that's a ThinkPad, desktop monitors, that's a 13-inch. So I'm gonna say, actually, no, I'm gonna, I've never really thought about this before. So they're using small, 640, then medium, 780, large, that, extra large, that, and 2XL is that. All right. Yeah, no socks. Oops. I'm also gonna just play around with a few things. So in here, we've got the iPhone, that's 414. All right, cool. 375, let's go at Pro 428. And then that will be 810. So if I go into responsive design, that 810 will land in here. The large, right? You want the ball back? There it is, sweetie. Okay. And then if we do something like this and someone switches it like that, that's all right. All right, I'm just gonna copy this. Oop, there it is, sweetie. I'm just gonna paste it. Oh, yes. Ow. Okay, I'm only pasting it for reference. So, what I want to do. Mobile phone sizes are considered smaller than small, right? Small If I just comment, and the Bob I know, how are you? I am glad it's the weekend. Let's just say that. Halloween's still going here. I haven't had anyone visit me, but I don't have any candy. So, yeah. And it's horrible weather, so I don't think there's many people out tonight. Like, it was raining like there was no tomorrow today. Yeah. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to state screen size small is going to be 640 pixels. Mobile phones, I can do that, and what I want to do is I want to state small screen sizes are screens that are considered bigger than that are. Hang on, let me rewrite that. I've just had a brain fart. So small screen sizes are considered 640 pixels or wider. Medium screen sizes are considered 768 pixels or wider. Easy. Alright, cool. That way they're defined. The large will be 10 to 24. The extra large will be that. I honestly don't think we'll be using something to Excel, but you know what? Hey, I'm gonna do what Tailwind's done and set the breakpoints at like this. Now, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? I want to include that in the main CSS. So in here, it'll be the @import, and at the moment, it will be variables.css. I think that will work. Cool, it's working. Sweet. So now I've just got to do my media query stuff. And I don't know if I can put media queries into a variable, which will be great. That way I can deal with setting the sizes and so forth like that. So yeah, let's see if someone's actually done that. CSS @media queries in variables. All right, from the spec, the var function can be used in place of any part of the value. Sorry, I should do this so you guys can actually read the whole thing. On an element, the var function cannot be used as property name, selectors, or anything else. All right, cool. So no, you can't use it in a media query. Damn it, and that makes sense because you can't set mobile breakpoint to, e.g., to root. An element, and then from there inherit to the other elements, but a media query is not an element. It does not inherit from, so it can't work. Preprocessor instead. Damn. That's annoying. Okay, not a problem. CSS, create generic media queries for reuse. Yeah, so the idea is what I want to do is set something up where I don't need to constantly type out this variable. I can just go at media and then just do a var or something like that, and then handle it that way. Let's use resolutions. So postcode. Okay. At import rules, style link, media styles. All right, cool. All right. Okay, and we don't want hover. Yeah, we want something. Yeah, we want to do that. But it's at the screen. So only screen and max of that. Damn, all right. One test I was going to do is in here, go at media and screen, and then, media only screen, sorry. So the max width is, let's say, greater than 1200 pixels. Oops. Sorry, that's next with, yeah. Oh yeah, that is correct. And then let's go background color. Let's just go black, like so. So if we go over here, it turns black. But as I make this shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink, ooh, it doesn't change. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I had it around the wrong way. So as I go bigger. So the max width is there. In this sort of case, if we're doing it at the mobile way, we've got to do min width. So min width means we deal with the smallest value. So at the moment it's the min, and then here, once we get past the 1200, now we're on the desktop. And this is where I can't use the vars. It's gonna refresh. Yeah, it doesn't like the vars. Okay, CSS at media query. Okay, yeah. Beautiful answer. Hi. Yeah, I think the first spec of CSS vars can't do that. Damn. There's, however, CSS pre-processing tooling that you can use to achieve this, and there is an upcoming CSS feature called at custom media, which allows you to do the very thing. Ooh. let's zoom in, let's do this so you guys can read. So at custom media, when designing documents that use media queries, the same media query may be used in multiple places, such to qualify multiple import statements. Repeating the same media query multiple times is an editing hazard. Yes, it is. An author making a change must edit every single copy in the same way or suffer from the difficulty finding CSS bugs. Yes. I don't want that. Alright, there we go, socks. To help, ameliorate this. Ooh, fancy word, I like that word. This specification defines a method of defining custom media queries, which are simply named aliases. Ooh, yep, that's what I want for longer and more complex media queries. In this way, a media query used in multiple places can be instead assigned a custom media query, which can be used everywhere. All right, cool, this is what we want. So we want at custom media modern. All right, color and hover. At media modern. Alright. So at custom media equals at custom media extension name and media query list. So at custom media modern. Socks, do you mind? Stop it. Alright. So, let's actually see if this has been MDN, custom media queries, custom media queries, at rule. This at rule allows developer to define custom aliases for frequently used media queries. Yep, that's what we want. Alright, cool. I'm just going to jump into here. I'm just going to search for custom. I don't see custom media ones in here at all. Might not yet be deployed. That's the thing. CSS media aliases. No. I think this AI is going a little crazy. Alright, I tell you what, let's just test it. It doesn't hurt to actually test it. What we're going to do is we're going to keep this simple. I'm just going to go up here and I'm going to go primary hot pink. Actually, no, let's do a random sort of color. Like so. We'll do green. Alright, there you go. We're just going to go primary and then color. What will also go down into the app. We'll just get rid of this because we know at the media queries work, and what we want is var primary color, like so. We're just going to go over here and done. All right, cool. So we know that we've got all of that linked up at the moment. Sweet. So what I want to do, go over here. Let's just copy this. Let's just paste that in. Now it's not letting us. Yeah, I thought so. So, alright, not a problem. So, we've got a fallback option. However, CSS pre-processing tooling So what we want to do is we're just going to copy this. We're just going to go Vite CSS pre-processing tooling, and we're just going to have a look at that. Yeah, so it's not there yet. Options to pass CSS pre. Shared options. Ooh, all right. So CSS pre-processed or options, specify options to pass CSS pre-processes. The file extension uses keys for options. The support options for each pre-processing can be found in their respective documentation. All right, cool. So we've got, yeah, all the sass and all that kind of stuff. That means that we end up going back to sass. It's it just means yeah. Max workers, all that kind of stuff. Alright. Yeah, this is annoying. But what we can do, media query aliases, is we can have a look at sass to see if it actually does it. So we're doing CSS tricks. We're just going to jump into here. If it does do this, what we can do is we can rip out the plugin we just put in with post CSS inline, and then we can sort of move to sass and get the preload, whatever the pre-processed CSS. Okay, I don't know why I had preloaded CSS stuck in my head. We're just going to do this using media queries. Why pre-processes at all? That's a fair question. After all, what's the point of doing all this if one can simply write media queries using pure CSS, tidiness and maintainability? The most common use for media queries is transformation of layout, yada yada yada. You can make a layout adapt in multiple different ways, different screens. Enjoy. Yep. All right. Cool. So if your code had 5 media queries targeting tablet devices with all different width, yep. Which, all right. Cool. Yeah. And so essentially, it's the trying not to repeat yourself. So with plain CSS, let's say the min width is that, and then using CSS variables to store the breakpoints, breakpoint tablet, using SCSS variables to store the breakpoints. Yep, we could potentially use it like that too, where we've just got the dollar signs instead of setting up the vars and all that kind of stuff, which is what I would also like to do if we're doing that. Plain CSS, we've then got the, ooh, all right. Yeah, I like that. So dollars page tablet. All right, cool. So we're keeping ours very, very simple. Note syntax and includes the retina declaration. I don't, famous last words now that I say this, I don't think I need to bother with the retina. Yeah, so they've got that all set up. So con map. So tablet will be at mixin, tablet at media, at content. All right, cool. And then you'll go in here, include at tablet. I just want them built in. So I can just say, instead of having the greater than or equal to and all that kind of stuff, I just want them built in. Okay. Set layout breakpoint small. I mean, worst case scenario, I can always do the min width, include that in, and just include those numbers. That's fine. That will be perfectly fine. Yeah. Okay, cool. We'll end up doing that. So if we go in here, CSS processing and stuff like that with the CSS options, uses Sass embedded if installed, otherwise uses Sass. For best performance, it's recommended to Sass embedded package. All right, I'm going to do that then. So we're going to cancel that. We're going to go npm run, npm install save developer. I think that's the thing I want. It's been passed into the normal command line. Unknown save developer. All right, cool. Not a problem. What I'll do, I'll run that. I'll go over into here. We'll open up package manage itself. So in here, we've got the package. We want to get rid of this nesting because if we're using Sass, we're going to use Sass. Up here, we've got the dependencies. We don't want it in those dependencies. We want it down here in alphabetical order, LMNOPQRST. So that will belong in there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop that. I'm going to redo that. Actually, I'm going to stop that. I'm going to remove package lock.json, and I'm going to go npm install again. They'll rebuild everything. I'm making sure that that's been put into the correct spot. Shouldn't take too long to do this. Cool. npm run dev. Oh, failed to load config. All right, not a problem. We need to actually change our config in here. So I want to do that, and I just want to go into, we have the vite config. Notice how we've got this now. So we're just going to get rid of that. That's perfectly fine. We're going to have a quick read of the documentation again. In this sort of say, it's pre-process options. So we've got pre-processor CSS. Oh, socks, what's the matter? You're like, what? No, don't hurt me, no. Oh, CSS. Okay, cool. So, first, go do that. CSS, pre-process options. We're doing Sass. Ooh, hold on. I also need to get rid of that. I need to go import. And this will be the Sass embedded. think it'll be like that. Most likely not. That's fine. All right, cool. We just got to figure out. All right, options. Okay, I'm not too worried about that at the moment. They've just got it like that. All right. Where was that example? SCSS. I'm just getting rid of that then. All right. No problem. We'll have it like that. We'll boot up everything. I'll figure this out as we go along. We no longer need that preprocessor from Vite. And what we're going to do in here, we're just going to do lang equals SCSS. Or did we want SAS? SAS embedded. We do actually have SAS. All right, cool. SAS embedded Vite. That's just installing that. Yep. Preprocessors. Import styles. All right, cool. All right. So we've got that started. I think this is running perfectly fine. We'll just hit enter. There we go. We've got things running. It's not complaining. I don't think I need to put in any options or anything like that. However, what we want to do is we kind of want to move this into its own SAS things now. So in the main TypeScript, I think we just go and we just import those styles. So what I want to do, I want to do SAS, because I believe we are doing SAS. Like that. That's going to have a problem. Not a problem. Not a problem for us. All right, we're just going to go main.sas. But I'm just enable files compile. Oh, we might need to actually hang on. I'm just going to delete that. Yeah, just delete it. All right, main TypeScript. I think that's what we've got to do. I'm going to note that. We're just going to do that. We're also going to do the variables, so SCSS. All right, cool. I am going to delete that. And I'm going to delete the main. I'm going to see if we have a problem. Yep. So it's deprecated. Oh, all right, cool. Copy link. Let's Alright, cool. So originally Sass used @import rules to load other files with a single global namespace with all the built-in. We're deprecating both Sass import rules and the global import functionality now that the module system @use and forward rules has been in. Alright, cool. So in here, we want to comment that one out. We're just going to go @use, and then we're just going to type in variables. That has made that. That's great. If we go over here and we refresh, perfect. Now, if I close this and I go into the variables, we don't have any variables whatsoever because we deleted them all. I'm just closing everything. I'm just going to open up that. I'm going to open up this, and what I'm going to do is I am going to have a look at how Sass defines the variables. So what we go is Sass variables, and we just do that. All right, cool. Let's just do that at the top of the page, and we're just going to go primary. What was the? Yeah, we're going to go primary color. And we're just going to go, let's, RGB. Let's do something like that. I'm just going to pick, once again, another green, another green. That's not there yet, but we know why, because I haven't actually put it in here yet. So we're going to get rid of that var, and we're going to put in dollars primary color. And boom, can't do it. All right, so Sass, error undefined variable, background primary color, root style sheet. Now, if I go over here, heads up, CSS has its own variables of its own, which are totally different from Sass variables. Know the difference. Sass variables are compiled away by Sass. CSS variables are included in the CSS output. Okay, that's a good point. Hey, Nocturnal, how are you? Hopefully you're going well. That's a good point. It might be that I should just keep these variable names in here, but then they won't work with the media queries, which we want. So yeah, what we could do is undefined variable. Where is the background color to the root style sheet? All right, so I'm just gonna go Sass root style sheet error. Yeah, someone's already keyed that in. So let's go and find the style. All right, cool. No, Sass variables root style sheet. All right, cool. So define the Sass variables. All right, cool. Root, and then use Sass variables to define the CSS custom properties on root. Okay. Yeah, I know, this is getting very complicated, Socks. We might just step back and make it more simple. Damn, alright. Sass. CSS. I don't know if we can actually yeah, I don't no we can't do that in here. It'll be down here if we would use it. So @use, and then it'll be something like source, something like styles and variables like that. All right, and yeah, I don't think that will work. I think that was going to throw up another issue. Yeah. Undefined variable. Socks, your head is in the way. Sorry guys, I've got to switch this to the other side so I can actually read this. So check outside, press escape key to fix the code or dismiss. You can also disable. All right, well, what I want is where got an undefined variable. Okay, cool. So we're gonna have to get that somehow into the VueJS. So I'm just gonna put that onto the right. We're just gonna close all of these because we don't wanna worry about those at the moment. The Vue3 Sass variables. In this tutorial, yada yada yada, piss off. So, install Sass, yep. Create a global Sass, yep. Source assets, yep. Global Sass. Forward variables. All right. So we've got this. I think we'll need forward instead. I'll just rerun this, and then doesn't quite do it, but right, that's fine. In the vote thing, we've got the plugins, view, resolve, aliases, yep, CSS process, additional data at import. All right, cool. We'll need that additional data then. All right, not a problem. We'll go in here. We'll find our Vite config. We'll go plugins. We're happy with those. We've got that. We just need to go CSS. We need preprocessor options. We need SCSS, and then additional data at import, and that's it so far. I'm gonna stop this, I'm gonna rerun it, make sure, yep, it compiles. We're gonna do this. No, it expected. On asset styles, actually, that's the wrong path. At styles, and then that will be variables. No, it wanted a maybe? No. just going to delete that. I'm just going to rebuild it. All right, cool. So internal server error. @use rules must be written before any other rules. So @use. Any of that. All right, cool. So we're just going to go into here. I'm going to zoom in for you guys. So we've got @import and then @all of that. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy that because I most likely screwed up. We're going to go into the config. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to paste that in like so. We'll have a comment at the end of it. Now the assets. Now we don't actually have assets like that. We've got the styles out here instead. I mean, we can always move the assets into here. Yeah, I'm just going to do that very, very quickly. So styles, actually assets, this will be SCSS. And then I am going to do globals. I'm going to copy this. So we're going to go global.scss. We're going to paste that in. And then what I'm going to do in the variables, I'm just going to copy this, go over here, paste it in, and then we're just going to delete these styles. So I'm going to move main over there too. I'm going to refactor it over there. I'm going to just delete this. That's perfectly fine. Just get rid of it. In here, what we want to do is we also want to paste one of those in. Now, there's additional data. Now, can I have it as an array? And then I can do something like this, and then I can just go main, like so, for like that. Will that work? No, it doesn't look like it does. All right, no, it just wants a string. That's fine, not a problem. Once again, this is just us playing around, mocking things up, and figuring things out. So yeah, it's fine if we just play around with this, and at the end of the day, if I'm like, no, I don't want to use this is too complicated, I'm just going to use the media queries raw and just put them everywhere, then so be it. All right, that's a problem. That's not a problem. Failed to resolve source main.ts. Does the file exist? Yeah, we're no longer importing that. So I'm just going to delete that. I'm just going to cancel that. I'm just going to rerun that. Oh. Define props is a compiler macro. No, I'm going to need importing. Use style variables. All right. More info on migration. All right, cool, not a problem. We'll get this to a working state. I've been mucking around with this, so yeah, we're getting there. Cool. No. All right, SASAT import rules are deprecated will be removed and data. Yeah, all right, cool. So now it's gonna be @use. And then it has a problem with what's in there now. Okay. Internal error, undefined variable, background color. Yep, we just need to then probably change that to forward. Rerun everything. Alright, define props is compile the method, internal server error, SAS undefined variable. Alright, cool. So this looks like it's not going to work very well for us. Not a problem. Once again, this is us just figuring things out. This is just a mock-up. That's fine. I'm going to get rid of what we've just installed. So I'm just going to go into here. We're just going to get rid of that. What we're going to do is we're also going to go into the view. We're going to get rid of this language. And we're just going to go, all right, cool, this is just scoped at the moment. We'll need to get rid of this primary color. That's perfectly fine. We'll get rid of all of that. And it should just reboot. Yep. There you go. So I've got to find a better way of doing the media query stuff. It would be, yeah. Define media query with aliases. That should be a @juster, not with path aliases. Setting up path alias, no. Fine, @media query. All right, cool. CSS @media query. Yeah, the custom media stuff is not out yet. Oh, naming media. If you, it would be pretty cool if we could do this someday in CSS. The best idea for it I've come across is the meta tag in the head. The way perhaps CSS could use it, JavaScript could use it, like Windows match media, name of media. Now the question is how to do it in SAS. Once again, the SAS @mixin would look like something like this. Yeah. @breakpoint. Yeah. Have I been thinking of the... Probably been thinking about this wrong. Yeah. Oh, so can I use? That's what I'm after. All right, cool. And what is it's custom media? Not custom media. If I just type in media, we'll have media queries and resolution. And then media queries, capturing, yep, all right, cool. Media queries, arrange syntax. That's what I want. Custom media. All right. Function CSF. No. All right. Okay, not a problem. Other thing is we can have a look at this. Use custom media queries in the CSS followed the CSS media queries specification. So custom media, small viewport, max width. Yeah, that's what we want. All right, cool. So I'm probably going to go back with the what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove all the node modules. I'm going to remove. Oh, I'll get that for you, socks. You want us to play with that. All right, there it goes, sweetie. Oh, I nearly started myself. What I want to do, I want to get rid of the package log. I want to also include nested. So in here we still have the npm install post nested saving dev. All right, cool. We want to install that because we still want to use that. And oops, there it goes, socks. That's going to install, and then with this one, custom media allows you to use it. Media allows you to. All right. Yep. We're just going to install it. Oh, this is taking a little while. Probably because I've just deleted the package log and it's rebuilding that. I just wanted to make sure that I get rid of all the Sass stuff in the package log. Dependency hell, let's just say that. Cool. Cool. What we're going to do, we're going to jump over here. We're going to realize I've got the config over here. We've got the plugins. What I want is I want CSS like that. We want to do the post CSS. I think if memory serves me correctly. Plugins, yep, like that. And then we want this is where we've got to actually import the plugins. So import the post CSS nesting. And I think we've got to have a capital and then another capital. And then I want to import the post CSS. There's something else. What was, oh shoot, this is the custom media. Not from that, thank you very much. From that, Jesus. This thing's just struggling today. Post CSS nesting. And then we want the post CSS custom media, like so. We're just going to do something like that. I don't know if that will compile. We'll figure out in a second. Let's go to that. npm run dev. Compiled. Okay, let's see if it runs. It's running. All right, sweet. So from here, what I want to do is I want to go post CSS. This is nested. Yep, like this. We're just seeing how this one's set up. Okay. I'm happy with that. Oh, all right, we're good. Let's put something nested in to test this. So we're going to do, and it'll be something like this, and then we're going to go modal, header, we're going to put background, color is going to be, let's say black. Like so. So if we go over here, boom. Background header is now black. We know it works, unlike my keyboard. So from here, we're getting rid of the Sass. we're just going to go main.css. I'm just gonna put those in like that. I'm just gonna close all tabs. I'm just gonna delete stuff we don't need. Once again, cleaning up the code, making sure everything's gonna work perfectly fine. I put that in there. I'm going to create a folder, and it is going to be called CSS, like that. We're going to move that into there, and we're going to go refactor. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. We're going to open up our main, and we're going to go import. Oh, no, hang on. Is it at import? No. Like that, and then boom, that starts working. In our CSS, what we could do is we can add another file called globals.css. In here we can have root, and we can have a primary color. I'm going to pick that one random color. We're going to once again change it to a green. I'm going to open up the app. We're going to go down here. We're going to go, all right, sweet. We actually want that to be a variable, primary color. We're going to go over here. We're going to reload everything. That didn't quite work. It's gonna, we're gonna compile it. Define props is a compiled macro that's no longer needs to be imported. Ooh. All right. I'm gonna get rid of that. Let's just rebuild everything. There we go. All right, so this is no longer having that. It's no longer having the primary color, which is a bit annoying. And if we have a look at this div, we can see primary color is not set. Just making sure I didn't spell anything wrong, but it is coming through. And this is CSS variables. We're going to have a quick look at the documentation once again, because I've most likely done something wrong. We've got tool that, and then we've got all of that. So I'm going to go back to the globals. Hang on a minute. I know why. Something really stupid. At import, and it's going to be globals. Now that's throwing up an issue. All right, I've got to turn that thing off soon, because that thing's starting to cause me so much frustration. There we go, all done. So we know the variable's working, we know the nested is working, we're happy with that. We now need to do this media query stuff. So if we go over into here, what we want to do is custom media. And I'm going to create a new file in here. Once again, we're going to separate these out. So this will be custom media.css. CSS. We'll just paste that in. Where will this go? Yeah, it'll be something like that. And we're just playing around with this at the moment. All right, cool. I'm just going to do that for the moment. And what we want to do in main CSS, we also want to import the custom media. Oh my. Like so, easy done. Just making sure that compiles. Just be easy, just do it like that to make sure everything compiles. All right, cool. So what I want to do is I'm going to set this at a particular value, which I know will work. And once again, we're going to go min width is going to be, let's say, 1200 pixels. And then only screen. I don't know if that, actually, we won't complicate it at the moment. We'll only just do that. And then what I want to do is under the app itself, we're going to put another nested sort of thing. That's just like at media, small viewport. All right. At media, only screen, and then we pass through, yeah, the small viewport. And then what I want to do, background color is going to be black. I can't type. All right. Now this is throwing up a little bit of an issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy exactly what they've got, like that. So we've got to do that. Okay, this might not work. Once again, this might not work. I'm just going to kill that. That seemed to work. We're just going to go over here. We're just reloading the page, and what we're going to do is we're just going to make it big, 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 small, 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 big, 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 small, small, small. All right. It didn't work. Only screen and that didn't work. All right. Let's have a look. Let's do something like that, and then go view 3. Let's see if there's something. All right. This is post CSS custom media queries in view files. As of this release, post CSS should be working everywhere, and it kind of is. Post CSS new features of CSS. One of the new cool features is custom media queries. Here's my problem. My assets.base CSS, and I have declared variables, custom media queries, and all right, cool. At custom media queries, viewport that. All right, we're just going to copy that, and we're just going to paste it in here too. reason why I'm putting in there, I just am. All right, let's go down here. The issue as has been imported as question since it does not respect the template. Only bug reports of features request stay open to reduce maintainer's workload. If your issue is not a question, please mention the repo admin moderator to change that read automatically. All right, cool. I had to find out the hard way that custom media queries have to be defined in your post-config.js file. Okay. I'm not against that. I actually just posted about trying to better utilize style resources to do it with post-CSS. All right, yep. So here's my post-CSS config file. Now, that just means I'm getting rid of that. Oi. We're getting rid of this. It means we're getting rid of this. Globals will be fine. And then it means it has to be put in here like this. All right, not a problem. Not a problem at all. So if I go into the documentation, do they have posted an import file, custom media, small viewport? All right, cool. They've got something like that set up in here. I'm just having a look at how they've got it set up. So extensions, viewport, all right. So going to our Vite setup. The nested stuff I'm happy with at the moment. This particular one, what we could do is, all right, they've got like the custom media queries as an array. We do something like that. Now that's throwing up an issue. Okay. So I'm just going to go over here. So plugins, post customer media. Yep, and then extensions. No, that doesn't like that. What has this GitHub guy done? Yeah, no, he did the extensions. And this was done a long time ago, so this is most likely changed. Dead links. Alright, no problem. Let's see what this is done. So define plugin CSS, post CSS plugins, post alert. Alright, cool, yep. And then in post, alright, so I'll get rid of this. So post, do we actually have something like that? We don't, all right. So I'm gonna minimize everything. I'm going to right-hand click, we're gonna go new file, and we are doing post CSS config. Like so, all right. Make a new file, thank you. I'm just gonna copy this because I am a bit lazy at the moment. We are gonna ooh. That linter absolutely sucks. out. I've got to fix that linter too. So we've got it like that. So it does that. Adding other styles, variables. And Bare Knuckle RP, thank you very much for the follow. I do hope you are enjoying my content as I struggle through this. Alright, I don't think that's going to work because that's going to throw off issues and stuff like that. No, alright, I'm going to back out on this. Still got the custom media. Okay. They're doing it at root. That's another thing I could potentially do. All right, where's my variables again? There's my globals. All right, cool. At custom media, it's all right. Tell you what, I'm just gonna copy what they've got. Saves me breaking certain things. I'm just gonna copy that. We're just gonna paste that in. Now that's going to have a problem. That's perfectly fine. What I want to do is go back down here. I'm just going to go here. I'm just going to copy this. We're going to go back to the globals and we're just going to paste that in like that. And we're going to hope for the best. Oh, hang on, we've got min width. 1200 pixels. That should take a fraction of a second to redo. Still no. All right. And yeah, that is at root, and that's throwing up an issue. In the app. Media, test media. No. 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 It's okay, Patty. Run away. Stop being grumpy. No, he's no longer in your bed. No. Sorry, guys. I've just got to separate. I got it. Sorry, Patty. You got to go out. Sorry, buddy. All right. Socks is not happy with Patty today. And she's been very protective of me because I wasn't cuddling her today. All right, I'm just gonna go like that. I am just gonna go like that. I'm just gonna paste that in and all right, sweet. And then I'm gonna go over here. Then I'm just going to go like this. I'm just gonna right hand click and I am, yeah, I'm just gonna test media it and just gonna get rid of all of that. And then I'm just gonna paste that in. And then I'm just gonna go display done. Cool. So things will just disappear. All right. So reproduction over here. Stack this. Yeah, they've got the same thing over here where that's just like that. And then in the app view, we do all that kind of stuff. And yep. And then in the Vite config. They've got the custom media plugin. All right. I'm gonna have a look at my plugins. I'm going to get rid of... I'm going to get rid of that because they've also got it set up so it's like that. And then that's all like that. Yep. CSS, post CSS, plugins, yep. Alright, cool. And the idea is, if we go over here and hit refresh, if we get super small or super big, it should just disappear and nothing's happening. System info, so forth like that. When was this created? This last year. All right. Using modular CSS such as CSS module, post CSS loader, vanilla editor a few times, you notice that the custom media queries are not being resolved. To overcome this, we recommend using the post CSS global data plugin. All right. Maybe another tool that I just end up using, which is fine. All right, we'll find the tools that will work for us. And that's why we're doing this mock-up. And then we can go forward with more development and so forth. All right, cool. So that's all like that. Post CSS global data, save data. Uses post CSS plugin. So delete post CSS plugin. Dot process your CSS and process options. All right, cool. So this particular person has set it up, import, they got the plugins, all that kind of stuff, plugins, global data, files, and then they've got the styles itself. Okay, cool. And then they got that. All right, so the step was unnecessary in project using Vite without Vue. How I'm not sure. All right, cool. Vite process, each CSS file is separate except for the app import. Post plugin is necessary in your case. All right, cool. So let's get this started. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna copy that. I'm just gonna click on that. We're just going to install it. Cool. We're just going to run the dev. Easy done. We're just going to go over here. We've got the custom media, and what we want is the post CSS global global data. However, we need to do something like this, and we need to import it too. So import. That will be the. All right. Yep. I'm going to see what this guy did. Yeah, they got a lower P. I'm going to copy what they've done because they've got lower P's everywhere, and I'm just going to right hand click and paste, and everything else has lowercase, and I think I've just typed in uppercase for some strange reason. Easy done. All right. Files. It's going to be like that, and then what we want to do is, well, we've hit an ad break. All right, cool. Excuse me for just a couple of minutes. I just need to get myself a cup of tea and so forth like that. I will be back. We will continue with this. So yeah, right, you behave. Door shut. got my big cup of tea. Hitting the microphone with the cup. All right, let's get back into it. All right, socks. Can I? Yeah, out of the way, socks. So we want to continue on with. What am I doing? Yeah, we want to continue on with this. So I think I can just do that. I can just go forward. I can go. We've got it under assets, don't we? Assets dot CSS, and then we've just got the main.css. However, we might have specific globals for this. If we go to the assets, CSS, we've got the globals. I don't think I put anything in main. I'm just gonna go globals. Like so. All right, and then in the globals, we've got all of this. I'm just doing that for the moment. We will do something proper. We'll probably end up doing this in its own CSS file. Reason being is I probably just want to separate them out. That's all. So over here we've got test media. That's min width 100. I'm just gonna go small viewport. I'm gonna get rid of that one. I'm just gonna kill that. I'm gonna restart it just to make sure everything is working how we want it to. We're gonna go over here. We're just gonna refresh. We're gonna go post CSS, no and no file or directory, view bed knockup at all right. So not a problem. I also probably want to get rid of that out from in here. Yeah, I'll figure it out. Just gonna delete that. We're gonna put in source. I'm just gonna do that. See how that works. No, didn't like it. All right, server restarted. All right, cool. It looks like it's working. Boom. All right. That is how we're going to do it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to change a lot of these. So first things first is I'm going to create a underscore variables.css. I'm also going to create an underscore media globals media variables CSS. I'm just gonna get rid of this. This is fine. I'll just delete it. We're not worried about it at all. We don't want to save delete it. I'm just gonna delete it and cause trouble. I'm gonna close all tabs. We're gonna open up media one. We will come to that in a minute. Up with the variables, we're gonna do root. We're going to do in here set all variables in here for globals. We won't worry about setting anything at the moment. Once again, I don't have any of the colors picked out. We'll go into the main. The main will not work at the moment, but what I'll do is I will undo that and go variables.css. Easy done. I think I can get rid of the dot /. I think I can just do that and it should just work. I don't even know if I can go at import variables. No, I'm asking for too much there. All right, we got a server error. No such thing. Yeah, we know that because I broke stuff purposely. We want to go into the Vite config. We want to get rid of this. This is now going to be underscore media variables dot CSS. And we're only going to worry about that one file. Now, I'm probably going to share all of this information. Sorry. I'm still figuring out how we're going to essentially get all this config to work, to lay out this all properly. Yeah. So our next thing is to go to the Vue app. This no longer exists. This no longer exists, the primary color, but that's not a problem. What we'll do is we'll delete that for the moment. That's perfectly fine. Oof, that was weird. What we want to do is we want to go back to Tailwind. So now that I've got this working, I am going to close all of those. I am going to open up this. I'm going to go Tailwind. We're going to get those breakpoints again. So I'm just going to hit into the docs. We're going to go into, it's usually up at the top, isn't it? Installation, style guides, responsive design, and then we're just going to copy this. Don't tell anyone. We want to go into media queries, and I just want to paste something in here. Sorry, I'm gonna need both hands. Yeah, thank you. All right. So up here, what we want to do is we want to go at custom media. We want to do, and Carson P, how are you going? I'm terribly sorry. I have a terrible memory. How have you been, at least? Talk about terrible memory. I forgot what I want to name these fields. So we want to go screen small. No. Small screen. Yeah, we've got to do the two. So small screen. And then it will be 2 months. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's trusting my memory. I don't have the best memory. I'm terribly sorry. All right. So this would be post CSS custom media. Let's see how they set it up again. Talking about bad memory, I've absolutely forgotten how they like it. So it's and then they've got it like that. All right, so if we have min width and then we set it at 640 pixels, what I'm going to do is this still NearBeach thing? Yes, yes. So what we're actually doing is we're sort of doing a mock-up, a design mock-up of the new design. And at the same time, we're sort of implementing some changes that we want to implement. So for example, we're using Vite instead of Webpack. That does mean that I need to reset up everything, but it also gives me the chance to sort of implement stuff I've always kind of wanted to implement, but just haven't. So an example of that is we'll be using scoped styles. So they're inside the component itself, so you have control over those particular component styles without affecting any other styles anywhere else. We'll also have custom media queries, so that way it's essentially set. You're just calling a variable, being like, all right, cool, small screen will have these particular CSS variables and stuff like that. I'll be implementing I18N internalization. I can't say it. And also accessibility and so forth like that. So we're trying to get in a very vertical slice the best practices done. That way we can sort of get it tested, get the community to give feedback and so forth like that. And we're only modifying that slight vertical slice. And once everyone's happy with it, then we can sort of branch out the design and start porting over NearBeach into the new design. So yeah, still got a lot of work to do with it, like for example the database and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's still coming along. So this will be custom media because I keep typing in this incorrectly, and then that will be medium screen. I'm just going to do that very, very quickly. We'll have then the large. We'll then have the extra large, and then we'll have the 2x large. And what I'll do is, just for consistency, because I like to fat finger. Oi! Oh, for fuck's sakes. Thank you. I'll do that. So, whoops. I still need to do all of that. 768. 1024. 1280. 1536. Alright, I'm happy with all that. It's 3 AM here. Oh, fair enough. It is 9 o'clock here at night. So, yeah. Wait, I did that. Alright. Oops. I'm just going to add in the comment. So, this will be small mobile phone screens will have a screen size smaller than 640. Easy done. We're staying water is wet type of stuff here. Small screens will have a screen size of 640 pixels or larger. And then we need to go medium screens. I don't know why I say it out loud and yet I type something different. Medium screens will have a screen size of 768 pixels or larger. And then what I'm going to do is etc. So that just tells people, all right, cool, this is how this is all set up. It's also a good reminder for me. All right. Now that I've got that done, we're going to modify stuff slightly. So we're going to do this, and we're going to go in here and type in small, actually no, it won't be small screen, it'll be medium screen size. No, we just got medium screen. All right, cool. Medium screen. Okay, and then, so anything medium screen or bigger will lose. All right, so there we go. We don't have the header there anymore. If I start shrinking this, notice how it just reappears. So this is perfect. Now the next thing I've got to do is the medium screen size starts at 780 something. Yeah. Sorry. 768. Yep. Custom media, small screen. I don't know if we need to put in screen only and I'm just gonna do this just for those two. We're gonna see if it works. It looks like it works. All right, so if we do a really big, one, it stays there. Nah, all right, that didn't work. So we're going to undo that. we're just gonna do something like that. All right, cool. And Tantai, how are you going? Hopefully you're going well. Welcome back. Okay, so this is coming along. It looks like it is obeying the screen size. I don't know if I need to, down here, go only screen and that. And that's the problem. I was hoping I could get rid of all of that completely. So if we go back into here, that will work perfectly fine. So that's large, and then we go down and it'll be, yeah, perfect. Yeah. All right. But I'm just gonna research that very, very quickly. For at media, do we need only screen? I don't know if that, all right. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. All right, media queries that are such as print versus screen. Oh, all right. No, I get it now. Okay, cool. No, I get it because only screen and yep. All right, cool. And then on the at print, it does something. Yes. Yep. All right. Okay. Cool. Yep. Okay. So I'm just going to leave it just as media, because you're not really printing out NearBeach. That's why. Okay. So we've got all the media stuff working now. Now this is going to have a problem. What I'm going to do is inspect valid media. Alright, suppress at rules, suppress for rules, suppress for at rule set, suppress for files, suppress for all for files, suppress for tag. Yeah, this is the weird thing is what if I apply my linter? Linter's fine. All right, cool. I'm going to ignore that for the moment. I'm going to see later on if I can change my editor to sort of say, no, these are actually declared somewhere else up here. I'm also going to make sure that they're custom media. Not at the rule, but all right. Press custom media error in IDE. Oh, invalid custom media, last modified, not that long ago, reports error, post CSS media query, post CSS custom media query, yeah, which is what we're using, all right. Oh. Oh, we're using a different tool. I've just saw that. Damn it. Don't say I've just done all this work and... Import form no longer supported. Alright, welcome. Couple of steps forward, cartwheels back. And I just dropped the ball. We've been wanting to share this for you for a very long time, but things take time. This started as a shy effort from to propose mono repository structure for everything post preset env related. When we worked on making sure plugin pack was ready for post CSS 8, we realized we needed a better environment for all of these plugins to coexist and to be maintained easier. Right after the migration to post CSS 8, which I think I'm on, we began working on more seriously to get completed. We finished moving these 3 plugins into the mono repo. All right, cool. This means all plugins from CSS tools that are part of the preset environment are now integrated into the mono repo. It also means that all of those repositories are now archived and pointing to the appropriate folder and this announcement. Alright, so this mono repo works thanks to Workspace introduced by npm 7, which makes maintaining this a breeze. We've had hiccups. Alright, cool. Alright, cool. So post should now work nicely. As part of moving to the new structure, we've also leveraged the opportunity to fix this issue and replace all the usages of parser, which is more actively maintained as a result of the newer version of. Alright. No, that one's dead too. When did this come out? 21. That new one. Is now archived. Okay, was moved to the post plugins. Okay. Gotta figure this out now. So install that from npm, add preset. All right, cool. There's a plugin for poster. It levels on the list, keeps an eye from and applies plugins so you can use new features without having to worry about browser support, which is great. By providing a list of browser targets for your plugin, all you need to do over time. Yep. All right, cool. Glossary. All right. Custom media. Yeah, that's what we want. All right, cool. Browser list is a package that gives you a list of browsers for a given query. For example, Chrome greater than 42. Browsers. All right. Looks like I am installing this now. Which means also located by this. Okay, I'm going to copy that at least. I'm going to paste this in here. what we're gonna do is cry a little. Oh no, we've installed it like that. All right, no, I've gone crazy. I didn't realize that this was all right in here, and it's all fine and dandy, and I don't need to worry. All right, they're both in here. Post CSS alert, post CSS. That's going to go in there. Plugin options, process. All right, node post. All right, cool. All right, at least let's get this. So, reports the syntax error in the post CSS custom media query. Located this by ID can be located. All right. Don't do that. Undo that. All right, so we've got it now, that and there. All right, cool. Settings preference, post CSS. All right, cool. So this will be settings of preference, editor. Inspections, and then post CSS. Okay, reports a syntax error in the post custom media query example. No. Apply. Okay. That should hopefully stop that now. I'm just going to copy this one. Reason being is it's the same and it's still coming up with an error. All right, cool. I'm just going to ignore it. All right, so going back here, we're all happy with this. Yeah, that's gonna annoy the hell out of me. I'll figure out a way where I can get that to work. But yeah, at the moment, boom, that's fine. We're gonna remove that modal. We're gonna continue with what we want to do now and not get distracted. Famous last words. All right, cool. I'm just gonna close everything. We're gonna minimize everything. We're gonna open up NearBeach. We're gonna open up source. We're gonna open up not the stores, not the router, not the component. Actually, no, that's a lie. I'm gonna open up the components. We've got the aside. I'm gonna open up the aside component. So in here, we've got a couple of bits of CSS that we wanna handle. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna handle it at the mobile and tablet and all that kind of fun stuff. So style sheet couldn't be loaded. I'm gonna refresh them. Style sheet could not be loaded. I'm gonna close you. I'm gonna put this in mobile phone form. Excuse me. So this is in mobile phone form. Now the problem is a lot of this is really, really tiny text, which is not what we want. We want to actually increase the button size. We also want to, make sure this looks a lot better. For mobile phone, I was also thinking, depending on the phone, you pull out your own phone. Did you want the whole? I think having the menu go out on the whole entire screen would be a lot better to do. So we're going to do that. So first thing I want to do is I want to essentially copy all of this. We've got to figure out the breakpoint where we want this to change. So if I go with an iPad, and I really should get my iPad so I can visually see it. On an iPad, we want to snap back to this. So an iPad's 810. If we have a look at the assets CSS, media variables, 640. So we do something like that. That would be kind of like there and then, all right, so 640. So when it's under small, yeah, all right. So we're going back with the aside component. What we want to do is we want to go down here. All of this is fine. So with the display none, background white, width 255, that's going to change. The height's not going to, position, all of that is not going to change. So what I want to do is I want to go at media, and then hyphen, and then we want to go small screen. Double checking because talking about, yep, small screen. We want to go, width is going to be 255 pixels. For mobile phones, we want the full width. So if this is fine, if we do that, boom, we want it full width. And we want to increase this button up to the top right too, but we'll get to that in a minute. The next thing is we're going to actually increase the size of this. So yeah, what we want to do is we've actually got the width of these. Okay, no, that's good, 100%. Yep, it's this down here. And we want to actually take out a width. Oh no, we kind of want a width. We want a calculated width. So 100 view width minus now we've got some padding issues and so forth like that. Not a problem, we can fix this. So we'll start down with the lower components and then we'll work our way back up. Well, down or sideways or however. So that one's fine, that one's not going to change. The close button, so all of that is definitely going to change, and what we want to do is at media, we want to do a small screen. We then want to go and do all that. We want to have that still. We do want the right, let's go 1 pixel for the top right, top -4 pixels. Padding is going to be I'm going to go 30 pixels. Now, the problem is this icon size is set at the icon. Now that's big. That's a little too big. So we're definitely going to bring that down to 15. But we also want to increase that icon size and we want to move it so it feels better. So that's actually up here. That's up here, and this is a variable, this is the size in here. All right. that will be computed, and we're going to go const close size, close button size equals computed, and then we'll actually have a function. I'm just going to return 16 at the moment. We're going to go down here, and we're going to go close button size. All right. So in theory, this should just work. There we go. It just works. That's great. I can't edit that using the tools, but that's not a problem. What we do want is we want JavaScript get screen size. Yeah, I'm just thinking if there's a way I can window inner width. Because the thing is, now if I start putting these sizes in multiple different spots, we have them all separated, it's not good. Yeah, so usually the config you want in one spot and then it just replicates everywhere. Having config in multiple different spots is just unfeasible. All right. The other thing is, could I edit the CSV, change SVG with attribute? That might be the solution. All right, I'm just gonna get rid of this. Just gonna get rid of this. We just got X there, all right? Now, if I reload the page, X's there, it's just default sort of 24, that's perfectly fine. What I wanna do is down, that's part of the aside close. So we've got the aside close, that little purple thing that I'm sort of hovering over. We can get to, using the nested functionality, we can get to this SVG in there. And what I wanna do is we're going to go down here and we're going to go like this, dot SVG. I'm sorry, it'll actually be SVG without anything because it is a tag. And then if we do width, let's say we had 16 pixels. Let's do something random. Let's do 100 pixels, height 100 pixels. Let's see if I can get to it first. Boom, I can get to it. Perfect. What we want to do is we actually want to now change this. I'm going to change it to 24 pixels. 24 pixels, I just want to see what that's like. It is a bit bigger, but once again, we're dealing with a very small screen. You've got to think, how will that shrink down? I want to go 40 pixels and then 40 pixels. That's looking a lot better. And now that that's looking a little bit better, and if I move this down to here, that's I'm gonna go 42. I'm gonna be annoying. I'm gonna move it by a couple of pixels. All right, cool. So now that we've got it like that, I'll zoom back in. Okay, we need to move this around, and it shouldn't be too hard to do. If we get rid of the top, you see we've got something like that. So what we want to do is we just want to move it sort of like that. I'm going to say 25, and then on the right, I'm going to do 12. Doesn't quite work, but now the one problem is that padding. Also the fact that it isn't centered. I've just realized it isn't centered. That's going to annoy the hell out of me. So we want, I'm going to go down here. We're going to go right, -12. And we had top -4. We're going to have to fix the padding. And the reason being is we don't want that padding to drop down into the dashboard section. That will just cause issues. So I'm going to get rid of the padding first off. Actually, no, we kind of need it. We kind of want it that large. I'm going to get rid of the top and right and the padding. So that just sits up there. I'm going to do the same here. I'm also going to go display flex inside it, and then we're going to justify content center, align item center, so that icon sits inside it properly. We're going to get rid of those. That's not going to be a problem. So we've got this. We've got it on the right side now. Now I'm going to move it back onto the left. So I'm going to go right. 0. So as you see, bump straight into there. That's perfectly fine. We're just going to go right 0. Cool, I'm happy. From there, we want to do our padding, and we definitely do want that padding because that padding will help. And I've just realized if I move that, I'm just moving that over there for the moment. Okay, not a problem. We're going to move that back to 0. We're going to go padding. I want, let's say, 4 pixels at the top. I want 4 pixels at the right. I'm going to say 4 pixels at the bottom. And I'm going to go 10 pixels to the left. And there is a reason for this. Now I'm going to also increase this. Till I'm happy. Then I'm going to increase that to, I'm going to say 20 pixels. The reason being is, notice that purple space, if the user hits any of that, we should then hit the X mark. All right. And I think that's lined up really well. So what I'm going to do, paste those in very, very quickly. Now we've done the width. I'm all happy with that. We've got to fix this up when we hit the small screen, but that's not a problem. Down here, what we want to do at media, We want small screen, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to go width. It's going to be 16 pixels. Height is going to be 16 pixels. And yeah, we'll fiddle around with that a little bit more in a minute. All right, I spelled media wrong. Cool, and I'm just refreshing everything. So we're happy with that. Now, if I flip this, we're on the small screen. This would have moved because we would have played around with stuff now. I don't mind it. I don't mind it where it is. That looks okay. And what we could potentially do is extend that padding once again. So on the left, it extends out, and yeah. But I'm okay with that. So I'm going to flip this. We're now going to deal with the other stuff in here. So we've got the sidebar. We've got the NearBeach logo. That's tiny. All right, that is very, very tiny on mobile phone. We might go up to 42. Yeah, I'm gonna go that. I think a margin of 4 at the top would work. Yeah. Actually, no, margin of 4 at the top doesn't work, but that's not a problem. What I want to do is I want to go into here. So that's the aside close. We've just done that. We're now at the bar. We're all happy with that. NearBeach logo. This is where we got to do the @media. And this will be small, screen small. Small screen. And then we're just going to go margin, top 7 pixels, like up here, and the height, like so. I'm just going to get rid of one of those. And then, did we say 70 pixels? And then what I want to do, I want to see if we can do a 4. I mean, it's okay. It's okay. And once again, we'll have a look at the logo and we'll improve the logo soon. So yeah, I'm not too fussed about that. I need to figure out how to do turn font into SVG. The idea is I'm going to import that in, just, you know, make it look nice. All right. Now the idea is also on a small screen is when you click one of these menu items, it's going to the menu. Yeah, which we'll figure out. Sorry, give me a second. I know it's red. All right, so. Our next thing is dealing with these buttons. So I'm kind of happy with the top. We're not going to worry too much about the top. The menu, that's all fine. The padding top, yeah, that's all good. I think this is going to be different. So what we want @media, and then we need small screen. We're just going to paste that in. And then down here, this is where we're going to figure out some stuff, because we've got some paddings. so forth like that, that we have to remove from all these calculations. So if I go into here, oops. If I go into here and we have a look at the menu itself, so the aside menu, that's 100%, that's at the top. All right, cool, that's taken 100% width. No, there's a padding on the left by 4 pixels. So if I go up and I search where that is, that's on the aside component itself. So that's one thing I want to get rid of straight away, and that does actually change a few things. All right, not a problem. What we want to do is we want to scroll all the way up with the aside. We've got that padding. I'm just going to get rid of it. I'm just going to do something like that. Easy done. I don't know why I've got it on as a 4. I'll tell you what. I'm just going to get rid of it completely. Change all of that. I know why I did it, to have more space on that. All right, cool. So I'm gonna undo that. So what's it doing is it's adding a little bit more space to the left here for these buttons, making sure it gives it a little bit more space. Yeah, well, I'm just in repeat mode at the moment. Now that I got rid of that, we've got the UI items, and what we could do is we could do a calc 100 view width. 100 view width minus, I'm going to say 10 pixels, and we can change that so that 10 pixels can easily go up to, I'm going to say 16. I actually like that. That's actually, I randomly picked that and it worked. So we scroll all the way down here, we're going to click on this, we're going to get rid of this, and we're going to paste in the calc 100% view width minus 16 pixels. Cool. We don't need any padding or anything like that for this. The font size, line heights will definitely change. So these are going down here, and then up here we're just going to go font size. Let's start off with 24 pixels, and then line height we're going to do, I think, 32 pixels. Ooh, I'm just making up these numbers. Now that looks a lot bigger. Look at that. Now the icons seem a lot smaller. Once again, we can actually modify those. We can actually get to that. That's not going to be a problem for us to do. Now, what I would potentially do in this sort of case is I need to fix up that close bar for starters. -1. All right. The next thing I want to do is I'm happy. Until I see this on my phone, I'm kind of happy with that. But yeah, we've got to do the size of those little SVGs. That's not going to be a problem. So that will be the aside list, going through all of that. We've got the fonts. That will be a level lower than this. I know stocks. Okay, I'm gonna call that fine. We're gonna go a level lower now. So we're at the component. We render in the menu. So in the menu itself, we've got all of this. Yeah, we're all fine with that. This will all be gotten from either the back end or something like that. It'll do a call and we'll pass it through to the front end, and then the user will be like, ah, sweet. All right, so going in here, we have no styles. Not a problem. We do have a component that we're passing down. I'm going to get rid of that 14 size. Yeah, we'll handle that down in the menu item itself. We've also got to handle this plus too. So not a problem. So now that we're down here, so we've got the router link, we're going to do the slot, we've got the sidebar menu icon. So the sidebar menu icon, we're all happy with that. I'm not going to change any of that. What we want is, we want SVG, and then when it's small, all right, we want width to be, let's say 24 pixels, height going to be 24 pixels. I mean, yeah, that's stock standard sort of stuff. I'm just wondering why that's a little off. All right, so the span. Don't know why I'm doing line height. All right. That's not centered in the span, and that's annoying the hell out of me. All right, I'm just gonna hit refresh. Now, I'm probably gonna go 22, 22. We'll see what that does. Yeah, the icons aren't lining up, and that's really annoying me. Okay, so that's SVG under there. Those are the attribute size, so they're all 24s and stuff like that. Aren't I changing them? Oh, shoot. I'm not. A new icon. Oops, I'm also in the wrong area. I've got item, not icon. So if we go up here, hang on. A sidebar menu. I'm just going to search for this. This is going to be very, very quick and easy. So we've got the span here. All right, cool. We don't have a class for it, which is what's causing the problem. So we're just going to go down here. We're going to create this class. That's item hover, item search and new. All right, cool. Dot, you're going to paste that in. We're just going to do something like that. We're then going to go width. I'm just going to be really silly, 100 and 100. All right, we're just making up, and I've got to do the SVG. So SVG. All right, like that. Now that is not getting there yet. However, what I want to do is I want to go background color. I'm going to do something like that, just to help us sort of navigate what we're doing here. So as you, hot pink, easier to sort of, there we go, hot pink. As you see, at the bottom of each icon, there's a little bit more space. We don't want that. With the span itself, we could probably do the height being, let's say, 10 pixels, but that won't work because, yeah, that's part of the span. It's inline. And then if we go display inline block, I mean, that will work. We can then get it to the same size. Once the meta socks. But I'm not getting to the SVG. Whereas before I was. Up here, I was able to get to it really easily. The thing is, this is a slot. We might actually need to bring this up to above. All right, not a problem. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cut. I'm gonna go in here. We've got the scoped stuff in here. We're gonna paste it in. I'm gonna let Socks out because she is going to grab it out. All right, no fights. Don't you dare cause any fights. There we go. All right, so that was the problem. I just needed to put it up one level to scope it out properly. I'm going to get rid of this hot pink stuff. What we're going to do is we're going to drop it down to 20 pixels because we want it smaller than the text itself. There we go, perfect. And now it sort of lines up. Awesome. So yeah, I just needed to get that correct sizing done. The next thing to do is we want to get rid of that, and then what we want to do from here is we want to do at the media, and then we want to do small screen, and then we want to deal with the width being, I think it was 14 pixels before, and the height being 14 pixels. It was actually rather small, and then that works a treat. Now we've also got the same thing with the plus over here. However, that plus I think actually belongs in here. So as you see, there's the span, there's the plus. So we can grab this very, very quickly. I'm just going to neaten up this. We're just going to go straight to the bottom. I'm just going to paste it in like that. Ooh, hold on. We've got it right here. So I'm just going to do something like that. We're going to go like that, and then we're going to go SVG, and then we're going to go down on here. At the moment, set at 24. I think that's a good size. I think that's a very, very good size. And then what we want at media, then we want small screen, and then we want width. I think it was 16 pixels we want, and then height being 16 pixels. All right, cool. And then that will handle all of those. So if we got this is looking good. So as you can see, this is size 24. We're not fussed about that. It is slightly more off to the side, but that's fine. But if I flip it, yeah, the icon size is not working for me over here. So I'm going to small screen. We needed to set them down, I think, to 14 pixels. All right. So going up here, aside that's why. Spelling mistakes. Yay. Cool. And that looks fine still. All of that lines up still. All right, cool. And then if we go into here, we've got all of this. Yep. All right. And then, yeah, if someone were to click one of these, we'll have to figure out how to get onto the screen. Now, is that centered? Not quite. Sorry, it's just annoying me. All right, cool. I'm gonna click on the span. I'm just gonna remove that. Yeah, it's like I need to play flex this. Not quite. Not quite. Align height setting again. Oh no. Alright. If I change that to an inline block, get rid of the transform, and then do a width of 24 pixels and a height of 24 pixels. There it goes. So I've got to be... and then do something like that. Literally just doing sexual fucking hair. All right, I'm gonna leave that like that for the moment. I've got to go through and figure that out. And then yeah, the next thing I want to do is when someone clicks on something. So at the moment, the aside menu, router link. Yep, that's perfectly fine. Do props route, and then what we want to do is be on click equals. We want to check to see if we want to close it. So close menu. Like so, that is just going to be a simple function. So that's just going to be a method. We're just going to go down here and write in our method. We've got a function, close menu, or we should probably do a different variable name, be like, no, close menu is fine. Well, screw it. We don't need to worry about that too much. That will be a void. So if the window, if user is in mobile mode, close window. Give me a couple of seconds. I think I can access data attributes. Or set data attributes. Alright. Alright, not a problem. What I was thinking of is checking to see if the user's in a mobile format, which we can just use using the window. So if window.screen width or something like that. Hold on, JavaScript get screen width. Okay, cool. It's window.screen. All right, cool. Is less than, and then this is the thing, I don't want to put these in multiple spots. X40, so that will be, this is where we do the store stuff. So we've got the user out, that's perfectly fine. What we need to do is import use aside store. All right, cool. We've got the route. We've got the not the routing. View storage. Who sucks? Store. All right, cool. And then we just got to go. How do we do that? Oh, it's just that. Things are done. So we just do that, and then I just want to go down here. So if it's bigger than that, what we want to do is we got to go aside store dot, and then it'll be toggle aside. That's it. That would just close it. So yeah, that in theory should work. If we click on this, boom. And then if we click on that, boom. Now we haven't edited any of this. I do need to get to it. By default, what will actually happen is when a person loads in, I gotta think about the menu. What will happen is I will have a default of the menu shut. If it's in a certain config, it will open up. That's going to be perfectly fine. Because on mobile phone, you don't want the menu to boop straight away. When you load up the page, what you want is your dashboard. So I've just got to think about that. And what I could potentially do is we could set the defaults. And I'm just wondering if we can set the defaults at a different level. Now this is where I need to use view global variables. So what's the best way for the global variables? View 3 const, give up to the host name. All right, cool. What I was hoping for is config. It's kind of like global variables, but just for placeholder variables and stuff like that. So view 3 placeholder variables. Don't worry. I could do it as a global variable. Yeah. All right, I'm thinking way too much into this. So I just want to quickly have a look if I can actually have the store change. So state that is open. I don't know. Oh, all right. I'm going to do the mounted on the app itself. So when this comes in, so lifestyle hooks, yep, we're all good with that. Making sure I'm on the compositional API. So this will be on mounted. So register callback to alert. All right, cool. I'm just going to copy that. Oh yeah, I'm just going to copy that. That's fine. All right, cool. On the app itself, what we're doing is on mounted, just pasting it in. We don't need to worry about that value at all. What we want to do is we also want to, we've got the aside store suite. We just want to go if user is on mobile, the menu will not appear by default. So if the window.screen.width is less than 640, what we want to do is toggle that. And that's pretty much it. I think I got to import that from there. That will be on line 5. We just go through here and we just go goop, and then on mounted. All right, whoa, socket poo, coming in for the surprise. Now, perfect. And the idea being is if the phone was like this and someone refreshed, boom. However, the logo is not appearing there because this is, yeah, on a phone. And that's something I can worry about another time. I'm not too worried about that at the moment. But if someone was to use like an iPad and we do something like that, that's looking good. And then we can close it and then we can do that. And if they reload, boom, it loads up with that. And then you've got your sort of thing. And we can sort of play around with this. So yeah, I could potentially do the screen break sizes configuration in 2 places, one for CSS, one for the JavaScript. I don't like that at all. If there is a way where I could sort of get one and pass that information to the other easily, I totally would. All right, so what do we want to do? It is past 10 o'clock at the moment. I'm actually quite happy with this so far. I need to actually test it on platforms itself, and the great news is if I go to locator.tm Azure website submit, let me just log in. I'm going to file manager, sites, w root. I'm just deleting assets. Deleting that, and I'm going to delete that. All right, cool. So what I'm going to do very, very quickly is, wherever my terminal is, there it is, I'm going to go npm run build, and that will take, it wasn't too bad, that took like a second. bit more than a second, so much better than Webpack. We want to go into sites, we want to go into view, we want to go into NearBeach mockup. This dist, I'm actually going to drag and drop onto a particular site. And what we're going to do is we're going to type in robotichead.azureWebsites.net, and there it is. So we've got something to play around with at the moment. Yeah, the next sort of thing, once we've got this all sort of set up and we're doing all the CSS and we're all happy with it and all that kind of stuff, accessibility is next. And then internationalization. I can never say that fast. There we go. I screwed up. All right, cool. Anyway, I'm probably going to call it there tonight. We are. Looks like I don't know if they're Yeah, we're gonna find someone to quickly raid. Alright. I know exactly who to raid. And Steffi, how are you going? Hopefully you're going well. We're redoing the design. There's the design, just in case you were interested. For those on YouTube, there we go. Slowly getting there. So do give me feedback. It would be greatly appreciated. So yeah. Anyway, we are going to raid Matt Bird's quest. I'll just put that on mute. I've got to be careful just in case they've got any music that they're playing. So yeah, let's go raid Matt Bird's quest. And thank you very much everyone for being here. So yeah, greatly appreciated. And for those on YouTube, thank you very much for being here. And don't forget to like and subscribe.